This podcast is brought to you by Raycon earbuds, my friends. Raycon everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. When I go jogging, if I'm boxing, or if I'm just in the library, just kidding, who goes to libraries? If I'm outside chilling at a coffee spot, I usually just have my Raycon earbuds on me because they last super long and they're super light and they're comfortable. So to get your Raycon, my friends, check this out. Go to buyraycon.com/brain today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/brain to get 15% off. That's buyraycon.com/brain. So once those boxes are checked for me, I have to move on and do something else. People who have been on this channel understand that I have gone through so many different phases. There was the YouTube phase, the acting phase, there was the hosting phase, there's the food phase, and now I'm in my serial entrepreneurial phase. And I'll always go back to YouTube. YouTube is something that I'll never leave because it was something that allows me to create things without red tape. And I've said this multiple times before, I love this platform because I don't have to ask somebody to create something. I just have to create it, whether it's good or bad. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. If you are watching this on video, I apologize. Crazy. So before we left, oh, here's the dog.
Can you see her?
That's fine, whatever. But if you're watching this on video right now, we are obviously not in the studio. We're actually at Bart and Gio's place. If you guys don't know who Bart and Gio is, Bart and Gio are really good friends of ours in the YouTube space because some of you apparently found this podcast through like just regular podcast shit. So I've been trying to upload this video that I shot with my buddy Sush. It's a interview / musician type of thing. I don't know. Uploaded it 3 times and it didn't fucking work. So now we're back here doing a makeshift one because we have some ads that we have to read.
Well, really? You're going to mention that?
Yeah, it's honestly, I'm honest about everything.
Mariel, come to the rescue for a last minute podcast.
I could have podcasted by myself.
You could.
With that attitude. You can't help your husband out without throwing a little salt in the wounds.
How is that so? I said, Mariel, come to the rescue.
That's a tikkut, dude.
You know, he's been using this word called tikkut that I've been saying to him. He doesn't even know what it means and he just uses it for everything.
I said because it makes her mad.
It like makes no sense.
So explain people what tikkut is.
It's tikkut, it's a Korean word and you use it, people who hold grudges. That's what it is.
It's you.
No. And then like they won't let it go. So David, I forget what the example was, but basically I said sorry. I did something and I apologized. He would not let it go. And I was like, God, you have such tikkut. And he's like, what does that mean? I'm like,
oh, let me tell you what this girl does. Okay, you want to talk about some tikkut, whatever? That doesn't make it. Okay.
Look, all you had to say was thank you, because I wasn't saying anything bad. I was like, Mariel, come to the rescue.
Let me tell you this right now.
This bickering thing doesn't end, guys.
let me tell you this.
A few years in, and we're still bickering.
Hey, let me tell you something. Okay.
So no need to tell me.
Let me tell you the most deceptive thing this girl ever did. This is means for divorce. This is means for divorce. All right. So we're in the room.
Let's not talk about that. I'm about to have a new job here. I can't have it.
Why?
Just in case someone listens who's under me.
This is okay.
No, it's okay. It's a little bit too personal.
What's so personal about this?
It's very personal.
Is funny.
Like, this is not something you would do in front of your parents, in front of like.
Of course we would.
Parents-in-law? No.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't think I wouldn't tell the story?
No, you wouldn't do the action though. You know what I mean?
Are we talking about the same story right now?
In the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
No. Maybe another time.
When you say bedroom, now they're gonna think it's a completely different type of thing.
It's definitely not that.
It's not. It's nothing like that at all. Come on.
It's the polar opposite.
We need to talk about this one though. This was funny.
God dang it, David.
It's not what anybody thinks.
It's not what you think.
But it's deception of her.
No, it's not. It's how you imagined it, how you connected the dots, which is very different.
We're about to go to sleep, right? And I walk outside the door to fart and I let one rip. Right? And then the moment I fart, she goes, oh, what's that smell? And I pause and I'm like, hold on a second. How would you smell it if I literally just farted and you said it at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. And then she stops and she goes, oh, wait, it's me.
So, hold on.
Okay.
I was very upset because
Yeah, why were you upset?
She tried to gaslight fart like me. She went,
But what's the point of that? What would I gain out of that?
because you tried to make me feel like I was the disgusting fart one when it was you. You farted.
No, it's both of us because you did fart. That's the fact.
Yeah, but how do you smell a fart that literally came right out?
Exactly, which is why your story doesn't make sense.
It does make
What really
sense.
happened on my end is that I was preoccupied with my phone doing something, and then David was in the room, but he left the room, which I didn't even
fart
realize.
like a gentleman.
He went outside to fart, which I wasn't even aware of because I was so preoccupied with my phone. And the next thing I know, I smell something. I'm like, oh, what is that smell? So I turned around and he's there in front of the door. He's like, I just farted. There's no way.
She looked at me like she was disgusted.
Yeah, because the smell was disgusting. And then he looked at me. He's like, I just farted. There's no way you could smell it. And then I connected the dots. I tracked back. I'm like, I think I might have farted. And I just didn't recognize it because I didn't hear anything. And it was my smell. And so I was like, I think it's mine. And I admitted it. It wasn't like I was trying to. So I said, I'm so sorry. And I was cracking up because we were having two different stories in our head.
I have never felt
and
so
I'm
betrayed.
Just like, let it go. Because till the next morning, he was like, you're such a liar.
I can't believe.
And I said, I apologize. Let it go. You deacon man.
You were caught fart-handed, dude. I've never.
So there it is. The band room was about fart.
The way that you described the story made it sound like it was something about sex. And it was. I'm like, wait, it's not. We can't talk about it. It's in the bedroom. I'm like, it was about.
Well, you asked, you're like, are we talking about the same thing? I was like, the bedroom. That's the only.
Yeah, I'm like.
If I say fart, then they know what the story is about. But it's fine. There it is. I hyped it up.
딱 걸렸어, dude.
뒷글이나 배워.
딱 걸렸어, dude.
Let it go, man.
It's the new year, people. And this year went by so damn fast.
It did.
Crazy fast. And like, I feel like it's funny, like when you're younger and you're in high school or even like in junior high, like I remember every day feeling so slow that I couldn't wait for the day to end. And now, the moment I wake up, I blink and then it's nighttime. Every day goes by so damn quick. Like this year, I don't even remember what I did this year.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about this year? You always do New Year's resolution, right?
I mean,
were you able to achieve any?
Yeah, we got this. Well, it was the store. I mean, if you guys want to know, like, Joe's been talking about it on his videos, but opening up the store in Hawaii was a fucking disaster. Like, it was so hard. And not even so much for me because Joe is the one mainly dealing with the operations side. But to tell you the amount of pain and struggle it took to open that store. We were supposed to open that store a year ago. So, for us, it was like we were just bleeding money the whole time. And I think for me, you guys already know, like I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So for me, ever since I started YouTube, I've always had like the moment I started becoming financially stable, I never had my money go below a certain point because I'm always scared. Like the biggest difference is like when you own a business or even when you're in entertainment, you don't know when your next paycheck is technically coming, right? And I was never a clout chasing YouTuber. I never really sold like snake oil stuff. So I didn't stack my money like other people did. I made good money. Right. But I invested my money into a lot of things. For example, Secret Society, the Junbi franchise. Well, all that money that I saved up, I threw into the store in Hawaii. So, which was kind of scary because the original investment that I was supposed to put in wasn't the amount that it ended up being. And none of us could account for that because of all the bullshit that happened in Hawaii with like, government scandals and everything else. So it kind of pushed everything a year back. So just to give you guys like an example, I'm not going to give you the exact number, but the amount of money that I put in was half the amount that I put in towards at the end. So that other half was supposed to be my cushion. I lost all that cushion. I have never had my account damn near close to zero before. It's in the last 10 years. So it was a very, very scary idea for me. It's not the fact that I couldn't make money or I wasn't going to make money, but when you kind of grow up in with like a scarcity mentality of like thinking that you don't know where your next paycheck's going to come from. You don't know if you could pay your bills. When that thought came back into my head, I felt like I was like 18 years old all over again. And that was very uncomfortable for me, especially because we're married now, right? And I know we don't have a kid yet, but the idea of not being able to like support myself or have money for emergencies bothers me, right? Or like, let's say my parents needed money. I don't have the money to give them anymore. That was how much cushion I had, and all of that fucking disappeared. So the last, most of you guys don't know this just because we're doing, podcast stuff. And, this is a comedy podcast, and I don't really care to tell people about my personal issues that I'm going through unless I've resolved it and I have something to offer after. Like as I'm solving things and I'm figuring things out, I don't want to hear shit from other people, right? I want to be able to, talk to my community and figure what I have to do when it comes to resolving these issues before I go ahead and talk about it openly.
Yeah.
So none of this was resolved. So because it wasn't resolved, I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast because that's just me complaining to people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to complain. I hate fucking complaining unless the complaint ends with a joke.
So did you have a resolution?
What?
How did you resolve it? Or like, how are you coping
Well,
with
the store opened. that's how I resolved
But
it.
financially, like, how are you coping that side of it?
There is nothing to cope. Now the store's open, so I don't feel that so bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how okay.
Because if I'm just bleeding money every fucking month, it's crazy. Especially because you're not seeing any profit come out of the end.
Right.
So like I was bleeding more money than I was making, which doesn't happen.
How is it now?
Well, now the store's running. So now I don't have to put so much money into the store, and we still have like some back bills that we have to pay, obviously because of the extra construction that we had to do. But now that the store's going up in Waikiki, it's going pretty well. But that's the risk that a lot of people don't want to take. That I think that a lot of people with the entrepreneur mind, we understand those risks. It's like big risk, big reward.
Right.
Which is not for everybody. And that's what I figured out too, because when I went back home to Sacramento, I was telling people, like, my close friends about what's going on. And because I think from the outside perspective, everybody thinks I'm balling, right? That I'm this highly successful person. And, which I am successful, but not to the extent that they think that I am. So when they go, oh, like you'll talk to some friends and they go, oh, the rich guy is coming through. I'm like, in what sense am I rich? I'm like, I've invested all my, like I had a conversation with a friend back home. I was like, I guarantee you if I open my bank account right now, you'd be surprised how little money I have in it compared to you, right? And what I was telling him is that you and I gamble differently. You want to wake up every day to a 9 to 5, make sure that there's a safe paycheck in there, and then you have your fun outside of your job, which is really fucking dope. For me, I make risks and I gamble all the time. So in terms of what I have in the bank account, it's not very much. I guarantee you have way more money in your account than I do. So it's just a different type of lifestyle. So I probably say about like 80% of the money I've made, I invested into all these businesses in the last like 4 or 5 years.
My lovely genius brain listeners, the new year is almost here, my friends. And whether you're making big changes or just settling back into a consistent routine, chances are you could use some audio accompaniment on your journey. And that's right, I'm talking about doing that with Raycon earbuds, my friends. Raycon everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever with optimized gel tips and the perfect in-ear fit. These earbuds are so comfortable and they will not budge. Trust me. And the best thing about them that I love about them, 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. Raycons are priced just right. You get quality audio at half the price of other premium brands. My friends, we got customized sound profiles, earbud tap functions, noise isolation, awareness mode, and so much more. I like mine because they're super light. A lot of earbuds that I get are very, very heavy and they promise a lot for their price tag. And I don't know. I prefer the Raycons because look, I can't feel them in my ear. I go jogging with them. I box with them. When I hit the bag, I go biking with them. And I'll be honest with you, I love them. Go to buyraycon.com/brain today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/brain to get 15% off. That's buyraycon.com/brain.
I remember you were saying that you like to be in chaotic situation.
This is too much chaos though. This year was a little too much chaos. It was a little more than I could handle.
Well, that's why you and I are kind of different very different, polar opposite in that situation, because I'm someone who likes to be in the safe zone, 9 to 6, having paycheck come every weekly, bi-weekly, whatever, and have the safe money come in. I don't know if I have, like, you have the personality to kind of gamble and risk that situation. And maybe it's a good thing that we don't have the same type of personality in that sense, because I like to have my safe income.
Yeah, I mean, I play it relatively safe compared to, I think, a lot of other serial entrepreneurs. And a lot of my motivation comes from like reading things about other people who are highly successful and reading about how many times they failed. Like, you know, people like Walt Disney. Like the amount of times that man has failed before he struck gold once is kind of ridiculous. It's like, I can't remember. I read it years ago when I was looking for like inspiration. But he probably failed like, I don't know, like 60 something times, multiple businesses, multiple ideas. And then he created this empire. And that's the thing that kind of motivates me because I can go throughout life and just coast. Coasting is not a problem. I think most people enjoy that. And what I mean by coasting, I'm not saying that you're sitting there and just wasting your life away. That's not what I mean at all. I'm saying that there's like a steady route that people can take and they can enjoy and love life the way that they do. I want to create something that's going to leave a lasting impact. I did it in, you know, like the Asian American sense of entertainment when YouTube first started. That box is checked. So for me, you know, people are like, how come you didn't want to reach towards the 2 million or 3 like more? Why? It does nothing for me. The moment I hit 500,000 subscribers, nothing mattered anymore.
Why?
Because I proved that I could do this.
Why
So
500?
I think 500 was just the mark for me. I was like, oh, I got 500. Then it became 1 million, and then it almost hit 2 mil. When I hit that million mark, it didn't do anything for me. I didn't feel good. It didn't feel like a piece of accomplishment. It's just like, oh, it's just more subscribers. That's all that it felt. So once those boxes are checked for me, I have to move on and do something else. People who have been on this channel understand that I have gone through so many different phases. There was the YouTube phase, the acting phase, there was the hosting phase, there's the food phase, and now I'm in my serial entrepreneurial phase. And I'll always go back to YouTube. YouTube is something that I'll never leave because it was something that allows me to create things without red tape. And I've said this multiple times before, I love this platform because I don't have to ask somebody to create something. I just have to create it, whether it's good or bad. And then it allows me to kind of work out these ideas. So what if I don't book another movie or, you know, do something else in acting? I've already done it like 2 or 3 times. So it's like, it never feels, that's how I knew I was different from other actors. When actors book something, they feel excited about it. Not just because of the paycheck, it's because they get to put all their work into a character that they've worked on for so long. For me, that only happens if I really, really enjoy the project. But in my position now, beggars can't be choosers. But I don't want to be a beggar. Like, I don't care to. Like, I don't care to work this, you know, TV spot for a 30-second spot. And they go, well, this is a great opportunity. I was like, for who? Like, I don't care if I'm on this TV show or not for 30 seconds. I don't care if my face is on this damn show. It doesn't matter to me.
Does any of that perspective has changed for you being from single to a married man?
I don't think so. I think the biggest change for us is going to be when we have a kid. The other reason why I wanted to open a business is because if we do have a kid and we have a family, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen with this. If I delved my whole life into entertainment, you would never see me. It would be like in the beginning stages of our relationship. I was up all night, living super unhealthy, kind of just focusing on the craft. I mean, a lot of money and a lot of opportunities came out from that, but I was pretty miserable, right? Super unhealthy. I can never go back to being that person again. Like not sleeping, not caring about my health, just sitting there in a room writing all day. Some people enjoy that because their end goal is for whatever the craft, or it could be craft or the notoriety, but those are the sacrifices that you have to make. Everything that I've read from people that I look up to in terms of reaching their level of greatness, they sacrificed everything. Their personal relationships, their spent time with their family, vacations, whatever, right? And that's great for them. I can't do that. I did that for too long, and I garnered a certain amount of success, but that success wasn't worth the amount of time that I spent not doing things that I enjoyed and being around the people that I care about. So those are the things that I can't get back. So I think I had my time with that and I enjoy it. And now I'm trying to balance both out. If I wanted to be very, and I'm saying not in a cocky way too, right? And I'm learning to kind of understand how to really appreciate my level of skills without feeling like I'm undeserving of the things that I've worked hard for. And so when I say this, it's not that I'm being cocky, it's me understanding how hard of a worker I am. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to, and I gave up everything, I said, I'm going to be an actor. I guarantee you I'm snatching everybody's fucking roles. Not because I'm talented, I just work that much harder than everybody else. I know for a fact, anything that I put my mind to, whether it's gonna take 10 to 20 years from now, I'll get those fucking things. Like, I don't give a fuck. I genuinely believe in terms of like, because I enjoy acting, right? I just don't care about the business and everything that comes around it. Mm-hmm. If I dedicated my life, if I cut everything out, all I did was care about the craft, acting, and all this other stuff, I'm snatching every fucking one of your roles out there. Every fucking male Asian actor, your role, I will take it right from under you because I'm just better than you. Because I guarantee you I would work that much harder than you. When you're working 20 hours, I'm working 24.
Is there a time that's going to happen?
No, I just don't care for it. And that's what I figured out though, during that acting thing, right? Because even early on when I was signed to a big agency, they were shocked. They're like, okay, we're going to put you out there. These people don't know who you are. And I was getting callbacks for major roles. And they were super excited that like you normally like your first year of acting, when you go in, you don't get like 3 or 4 callbacks for these major television shows. So they were really excited. Then I didn't want to do it anymore. And they got pissed at me. So, and it wasn't because I was disappointed because I didn't get the roles, because the callbacks were great. Mm-hmm. It's just, I didn't care for the projects. And I just kept auditioning for things that I thought were terrible. I didn't think it was.
What about like how much were they gonna provide you? Was it gonna be worth it?
You don't know what the money is.
Oh, you don't?
No, you don't know what the money is. You're auditioning, and then that stuff comes later. So, but then I did other things that I cared about, which was Jubi, right? So, and the podcast, and those things were a lot more fulfilling. So, like figuring my way out this whole past year has been very interesting. Or it doesn't even feel like a year. I would say 3 years, because COVID put a halt on everything. Yeah. Everything fucking stopped. So it was a good and a bad thing, because all of us got to reevaluate what was important to us, right? And I found out that though I do enjoy acting, if you send me an audition, I'm going to try my best to get that role. But if I don't get it, it doesn't affect me at all. Like even when I love a role and I kill it, I get like 2-3 callbacks and I don't get it, I go, okay, and I just move on. But I see other actor friends where it devastates them. And that's because that's how passionate they are about their work. And I don't have that. I don't have that part where I care. I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, right? Because I can go on about my day and move on and feel okay. But I think in order to be in this acting space, you have to be like them.
That passion.
You have to have that passion. It has to hurt when you put all of your life effort into a role and you don't get it. It has to hurt. That's how you'll become successful in this, because they're doing the things that I'm saying that I could do if I cared, right? So when I see my friends like Lawrence, he booked this show on the CW as a series regular. I see his passion for acting. He could take any shit role or script and he can make it great. And that's what makes him an amazing fucking actor. And so when I'm in this acting space, it's only because I have opportunities, because I had a project that went to Sundance, and I have had these projects online that people can see, so they see that I could fill this role, which I'm very much grateful for. But if I don't pursue this, they're not going to keep knocking on my door.
So, I mean, that in a way, that's kind of good, because then it's just less competition for those who are out there. Like, they're actually working with folks who want to keep that passion going. Yeah. But then do you have passion for any other things then?
Just this business. I want this business to do well.
Jimmy?
I have to check it off. If it's not checked off, it's going to bother me for the rest of my fucking life.
Do it well, though?
It has to make money.
Do you have like a certain time of how much money?
No, there's no certain time. It just has to be profitable. Like, it's profitable now, but it's not enough to for us to live off of. So unless that happens, then it's not checked off. This box has to be checked. If it's not checked, I'm not moving on from it. Can't do it. It has to be checked off. So Jumbi has been going on now for about 5 years. So until we get to that point where either we all decide to shut it down or we move forward, then the box is not checked off. but the business is still going and is successful.
Oh, you mean the company? I
Yeah,
thought you meant
this
the
is a
one in
bucket
Hawaii.
list thing. I want to have a very successful franchise. So, because acting will always be there, entertainment will always be there, YouTube will always be there. I have no problem going back. I could do YouTube till I'm 60, 70 years old. It doesn't matter, you know? But this part of my life is, the chapter's not closed yet.
Is that your last check?
No, I have a lot more checks. There's that. I'm trying to get like buff.
Really?
Once. And then,
Really?
yeah. And then I did like the kickboxing stuff. So that's kind of already checked. But this is the last thing that that I've been working on for a long time that hasn't been checked off. I mean, we have like 6 open stores and we're franchising like three more or something like that, which is great. But until I see like that fat check come in from it, where it feels like financially I'm stable from it, then this is just a pipe dream. And I know, like I always say, like money's not a motivation, but opening a business is money is the motivation, right? Because if this money comes in, it allows me the freedom to do other things that I want. But a lot of things I can't do because I don't have the fund for it. So for me, I decided to gamble, take all the money I saved up, throw it into this franchise.
I don't really do New Year resolution anymore.
Why?
I don't know. I think I could have my goals, which just because we have New Year's coming up doesn't mean that my goals change. And I've come to realization that I could do only so much with my goals, but I can't control what the universe has for us, right? Like COVID comes around. You know, if my new resolution is to do something that's like traveling or like do something that is, you know, interacting with people, but COVID comes around and Lord behold, like it's not just 3 weeks, it's a year, 2, maybe 3 even. And, you know, it could be longer than that. It's just such a disappointment for me. Like I had such high expectation and like motivation to do something, but something like that comes around, I just want to set expectation that's more realistic, where I don't get disappointed in myself.
Yeah, but why would you get disappointed from a New Year's goal though?
Because the goal is to accomplish those, right? But if you can't do it, I get disappointed. That's just who I am. So I like to keep it more realistic, and if anything else, achieve more than what I set myself for. Then it's me coming around and like, oh, I did more than what I expected. And I rather feel that. I rather feel better about myself doing that, doing more than what I expected, than having a whole list and not able to achieve them.
Yeah, but New Year's goals aren't, even if you set a New Year's goal, if you don't achieve it, as long as you work towards it, I kind of consider it the same thing.
That's a difference, right? That's a difference of how.
Because I think sometimes people don't achieve their New Year's goals because they set their sights too high.
Could be, yeah.
It's like this year, my business is going to blow up. It's like, how do you?
Yeah,
like
so it's like the mindset of that, you know, people are very passionate about it. I'm going to open it. I'm going to be successful with it. It could happen. And, you know, if you manifest it, it could happen.
So you don't have any goals for next year?
I didn't say that. I do have goals. But I think it's not like a bucket list of like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. Because next year, it's going to be a very different lifestyle. There's a lot of events happening. And my goal is to make sure I'm sane. Sane and healthy. I think that's what it is. I think the past few years during COVID, mentally, it was a challenge for me. Just working from home, which is something that I realized that I'm very not fond of. I like to work at the company, meet my coworkers, engage in person. However, it's not really part of my industry anymore. We all work remotely. There is hybrid, but you know, it's just not the same. And so trying to figure out how to cope with that and get myself together. I still feel like I'm kind of building myself to see, you know, to be who I was or like be the new me. I feel like I'm still somewhat broken. So I want to make sure I'm wholesome and able to overcome some of the events that are coming around next year.
I mean, because you're starting a new job.
Yes, I'm also starting a new job. I'm really excited and also very anxious just because it's a whole new industry. But I think I'll be fine with that. And then I want to make sure that we could travel as much as we can next year. I think it'll be like one of our like last time really traveling solo. You know, we kind of pushed that out and we've been traveling with friends and family, but hopefully we could get some like solo trips that we've been wanting to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every year there's like new goals that everybody sets, and I think that for like the younger people who are listening, or even adults, I think when you don't achieve your goals, it's not something to look as if you failed, because you can always just push it over to the next year as long as you kind of progress forward, right? So I think that's why people get disappointed in themselves a lot. They kind of set their goals so high that if it doesn't happen, they look at it as a complete failure, but you never know what's going to happen. So it's always good to, I think, to set things that you try to achieve, because for me, it's about incremental steps, right? So if somebody so for example, let's say, I don't know, you do want to go into the acting field and you're like, I'm going to book a series regular and it doesn't happen. Do you not put that goal for the next year after? Or does it stop right there, right? But maybe you got callbacks. Maybe your acting got better. Maybe you filled in like certain gaps that you didn't do before. So you did achieve the goal to a certain extent. It just didn't happen in the way that you wanted it to. And, you know, life is long. So if it doesn't happen this year, then you could, if it's still important to you, then do it again next year and get better and better and better after that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's just based on that's just who I am, and based on my personality, I like to make sure that I make goals that are definitely achievable. I used to be someone who would have a whole list and be pretty aggressive in my schedule, but I come to realize that I'm not that person anymore, and so I need to kind of step back and be more realistic, and like you said, you know, take small steps and figure out how to get that motivation or inspiration back, so that there are, you know, big goals that I have at the end in my life that I want to really be proud of. Like, you know, having my grandma's children's book. You know, that was something that I had a goal years ago to finish, but just because of, you know, situation in our world and inspiration, it's been delayed. And that's like one of the things. It's like such a disappointment, but I don't want that disappointment lead to me not doing it. I was like, I'm still gonna do it, but I need to figure out how to bring that inspiration back, motivation back, and that's where I need to figure out next year too.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. This is a short episode. We're headed out to Utah to go do some shit. But of course, had to get one in because I can't miss it. Most likely, we're probably not, I mean, if you're watching this on the video side, we're probably not going to do the video.
You had a whole introduction of this setting.
Yeah, it just doesn't look good. So it bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
High expectation.
Yeah, but we'll see. But Genius Brain every Sundays at 12 p.m. Next year, we'll get it on point. We're going to do a few changes. But it's going to be fun. Hope you guys achieve your New Year's goals, and we'll see you all in the next year. If you didn't enjoy this episode as much as the other one, my bad. It was last minute. It is what it is. Enjoy it either way. Love you guys.